I can tell you about the 3 hour lockdown plus the bomb threat. What, like 2 weeks later? So for the lockdown, basically what happened was I was in the library. It was during flex time, which, in my school had a period, not like a full period, but it was like a 45-minute block of time where you could like request to meet up with a certain teacher. And I somehow, for just got super lucky, I got put in the library because, everyone would go to the library because it was the only place in the school that had Wi-Fi. So people would just ask to go to the library to play on their phone. But anyway, I was in the library, and then, the lockdown bell goes off, and I'm like, that's a little weird. I don't remember any teacher telling me that there was gonna be a lockdown today, but maybe I missed it. So I asked the kid sitting next to me. I was like, "Yo, is there a lockdown today?" And he goes, "I don't know. I haven't heard of one." Because usually they let you know in advance when there's going to be a lockdown drill. It kind of defeats the whole point of having a lockdown drill if you know it's coming. But, I digress. But they didn't tell us about any lockdown drill. We all stand up. We're kind of like looking at each other because, since we're in the library, we don't really know what to do during a lockdown because during every lockdown drill, you're in your classroom. So they only tell you what to do when you're in the classroom, but not when you're in the library. It's different. So we're just like looking at each other, the lockdown alarms going off. We're just like, looking around until the librarian's like, "Okay, come with me." So we all follow her. She goes behind the counter. She opens a door to some room, and that room has another door to another room, and we all just go in there. And this room was like sick. It was like there was like a table, there was like a mini fridge, there was still Wi-Fi in there, but it was like a teacher's lounge, but it wasn't like the teacher's lounge, but it was like something similar. I guess maybe it was a teacher's lounge, I don't know, but it was like some crazy room. So, we all go in this room, and for the first 5 minutes we're just like sitting in there, not really like doing anything because we kind of expected it to end quick. Maybe they just forgot to tell us that there was going to be a drill. Those drills only last a couple minutes. So we thought, we'd be out of there, in and out, and then they would tell us like, "Oh yeah, there was a drill," and we forgot. But, 5 minutes pass, we're still in there. 10 minutes pass, we're still in there. 15 minutes, 20 minutes pass, we're still in there. And, the kids, we started to get a little rowdy, a little anxious in there. So, we were in the library, which, as I mentioned, was the only place that had Wi-Fi in the whole school. They like completely blocked our access to the Wi-Fi on our phones in every other building or in every other area other than the library. And this was big because this was around the time when PUBG Mobile came out, or when it, first got popular. So we were just playing PUBG Mobile with each other during the lockdown, and we were just like making jokes like, whoever gets the least amount of kills has to like go outside and like start clapping and like start, telling the shooter we're here because, that's funny. So, we're doing that. We're just goofing around. 30 minutes pass, an hour passes, we're still in there. And, eventually we're in there for so long where, PUBG's starting to get a little boring and we needed something a little more entertaining. So, we're just, talking super loudly. The librarian keeps telling us to, quiet down, but, we didn't really. So, eventually we saw the mini fridge in there, and, we just opened it. There's like food and there's drinks in there. There's like some Snapple. There's the ice drinks were in there. No Saratoga though, which is kind of an L. But, we open this and we just start passing around this Snapple, passing around the ices. We just start drinking. The librarian, all this time she's telling us to quiet down for the past hour. She's just like, she wasn't yelling at us, but she was doing that thing where she was like yelling but whispering like, you quiet down right now, you stop. She was doing like that sort of thing. But at this point she kind of just gave up. She knew there was no winning with us. So I guess, once we opened the fridge or cracking open the Snapples, I think she just gave up. So, after an hour, we start doing that. And an hour after that, so this is hour two, we're still in there. No update as to what's happening. Whole time for the past 2 hours, the lockdown alarm is going off. Like, it's still going off 2 hours in. And at this point, the jokes and all that stuff, they kind of like stop. We kind of stop making jokes. Librarian won in the end, I guess. But we kind of stopped because, it's been 2 hours at this point, and that I don't think drills are supposed to take that long. So we're getting a little nervous. We kind of stopped with the jokes. Some kids were like texting their parents, like, yo, they didn't say yo, but they're like, yo, mom, if I die, like, just know, like, I fuck with you, and like, I'm sorry if I made you mad and stuff. Like, people are like sending like serious messages like that. Like, people like didn't know what was going on. I was gonna shoot a text to my parents, but I didn't, because like I knew, like, realistically, statistically speaking, like, first of all, there's like what, 50 classrooms in this building, in this school. Like, the odds of getting the shooter getting this building is 1 in 40, assuming every building, or assuming every classroom has an equal chance of getting picked, which probably isn't true. He's probably gonna pick like, a row, you know what I mean? So like, if you're not in that row, you're good. And second of all, we're in the library, which is like kind of, my school is one building, but the library, if the main area of the school was like here, the library was here. It was like kind of away. So, if you're gonna, shoot up the place, you're not gonna pick the library because it's far away from everything. You'd only be able to get like one building, then you have to like walk all the way to the other part of the school to do it. So that's just like bad optics. You're not gonna pick the library. But even if with all that they picked the library, the amount of kids in this room was like 30. So I figured, and I was sitting in the back too, like away from the door. So I figured, like, 30 kids, the odds of him picking this building, this door, this classroom, and popping me is super low, because, 30 kids, I'm only one. It's like the thing with the schools of fish, where they kind of, stay together. So the odds of you specifically getting attacked are pretty low. That was kind of my thinking. And I also thought, like, you can also just like play dead. Like, if you were a shooter, your goal is to shoot as many people as possible, and you're not gonna shoot someone you think is dead. So that's why I was like, you just play dead, and he's not gonna get you. So that was my strategy. I wasn't worried at all. Well, I was a little worried, but I was like, it's fine. It's fine. I'm not gonna text my parents and have them like worry like that. And it's also like, if I text them and I just like go back home that day, they're just gonna be look at me and be like, you got me worried for nothing. Like, you're alive. Like, why would you even say that? You know what I mean? I didn't wanna worry them like that. That's kind of negative aura. But anyway, what I'm trying to say is that it was getting 2 hours in, it was getting scary. First hour was fun, playing PUBG. Second hour was still fun, still playing PUBG, but now we got the Snapples and the ice drinks, so we were kind of having a good time. But this third hour, it started to kind of get old. At this point, school was about to end for the day, so like so as far as I'm concerned, he's gotta get finished quick, cause like I got YouTube to watch when I go home. I'm not trying to spend my evening here in the small ass, sweaty ass room in the back of the library. Like, if he takes my evening away from me, I'm gonna be pretty mad. So I was like, he better wrap this up quick. But not long after, all this, maybe like, if this is hour two, maybe like 15 minutes after. So like after, 2.5 hours, 2.25 hours of being in this room, there's a knock on the door, and they're like, the police, open the door. And the librarian was like, how do we know you're the police? And she said that shit, and I was like, get the fuck out of here. Of course it's gonna be the police. Even if it wasn't, just let him come in so I can get out of here quicker, you know what I mean? But nah, she said that she like, made him prove it. I forget exactly how he proved it. I know she asked that, and I was like kind of upset because it's like, bro, just open the door. It's them. Just open the door. But I forget what she said. But anyway, they proved it, and we see the guy. He's got, he's the police. He's got like a gun, a big old assault rifle, and he's like, listen, we just swept the school. As far as we know, there's no shooter, but we still need you to, stay vigilant, and we're gonna escort you to the gymnasium, and in a single file line. So just follow me, but you're probably safe. So we did that. We line up in a single file line. We follow the cop all the way to the gym. And we go to the gym, and literally the whole entire school is there. And I found out that we were the last building, or we were the last classroom to get escorted, because we were so far away. They went through like, from the third floor to the second floor to the first floor, and then to the library, which is like on the first floor but away from everything, like I said. So we had the misfortune of being the last group that was escorted, which was kind of annoying. I was kind of pissed off because it's like why didn't you start with the library? You know what I mean? Like, get me out of here. But that's not important. We go to the gym. I say goodbye to my PUBG squad, and I try to find my friends, and I meet up with them. They're like, "Oh, what took so long? We're looking for you." I was like, these guys were taking too long. I don't know. It wasn't up to me. What the fuck do you want from me? But anyway, I meet up with them, and we're just like chilling there for like 15 minutes. Then the principal, comes on the mic. There's a microphone he's speaking into, and he's like, the police just swept the entire building. There's no shooter. You guys are good to go back to your classes. But there's like literally 15 minutes left in the school day. So like we go back to our classes, like nothing happened, but there's like 15 minutes left, so we didn't like do anything. We should have just left early. But anyway, no, they sent us back to class, made us act like nothing happened. And I never found out that day why the lockdown alarm went off, because it's weird that it would go off and there's no threat. Like, that's just odd. But I found out a week later from one of my friends. This is just a rumor, but I would kind of believe it, because if you go to the school, you wouldn't be surprised if this was real. But anyway, I heard from a friend that someone dropped something on the lockdown button. Like, there's like a button that you press that says like activate lockdown alarm, and someone like dropped something on it. I think she dropped the phone. Like, one of the ladies in the office, she dropped the phone on it, and that just triggered it to go off. That's what I heard. I don't know how true that is, but that's what I heard. It makes sense, knowing my high school, that some like Looney Tunes ass shit would make the lockdown alarm go off like that. But anyway, that's what I found out. But even though it was an accident, people were still like on edge for the next week or two. I mean, understandably, we're on lockdown for like 2.5 hours. Like, anybody would be on edge like that. Like, I'm pretty nonchalant, and like in those last like 30 minutes in that room, my heart was pounding. I was like genuinely scared. Like, the first 2 hours were fun, but dude, that last half hour, when it started to get like real and we stopped making jokes, like, you could feel the tension in the air, and it was scary. It was bad, but nothing happened, so it's chill. But anyway, for the next week or two, people were on edge, but nothing happened. I mean, it was a pretty chill school. Nothing happened until 3 weeks later. There's a computer, an open laptop left in the library with a Google Doc message that said, I forget exactly the day that he said, but it said on this day. It was a Friday, say like on December 2nd. It said, on December 2nd at 1:30 p.m. I'm gonna detonate a bomb in the library. I'm gonna do it. And those rumors went flying after that there was gonna be a bomb this Friday in the library at 1:30. And at first I was scared because of the lockdown, but then I realized I'm in the library during that time because I had a study hall during the semester, and during every study hall, I would also go to the library. The study hall was different than this flex time that where I was in the library for the first lockdown, but the reasons for me being in the library is the same, and it's to get access to that sweet Wi-Fi. So, I would always go to the library during my study hall, so I figured like, dude, if I go to the library when this bomb goes off, sure, I could die from a bomb if it even goes off. But first of all, I don't even think it's gonna go off. I mean, I'm not a terrorist, but if I was a terrorist and I was gonna detonate a bomb, I'm not gonna tell people because then people are just gonna like run away. And like, if my job as a terrorist is to bomb as many people as possible, I'm not gonna warn the people I'm gonna bomb so they can prepare for it. That's kind of like, that doesn't make sense at all. So I was like, I'm kind of skeptical about how true this bomb threat is. And second of all, I was like, with that being said, if this bomb threat is real and I not only go to the school and live, if I'm in the same room at the same time the bomb goes off and I survive, that's just incredible lore. Like, this was 2018, so this was before aura was a thing, but that would be so much aura just to say I survived. Not only I survived my building getting bombed, but I saw the bomb go off and I lived. So I was like, fuck it, I'm going to this library on this day at this time. I'm gonna sit at the table that the laptop was left on so I can get a front row seat to this bomb if it even goes off. So, this was Monday when they found the computer. I actually saw the computer because they saw it during my study hall when I was in the library. And I only noticed it because there was the librarian, she was looking at it, and she brought in like some other people to look at it, and I saw them look at it, and I actually read the message myself, and it did say like on, I forget the date, but it was like on, say, December 2nd, I think I said the bomb's gonna go off. I forget if it was the 2nd, but I know it was a Friday. And it was a Monday when I first saw it. So I was like, okay, this Friday, I gotta come to school. So, it's Monday. I finish up my study hall. Tuesday comes and goes. Wednesday comes and goes. Thursday comes and goes. People talk about the bomb on Thursday. I mean, they talked about it the whole week, but on Thursday, they really started to talk about it. Talking about whether or not they're gonna go to school the next day and all that stuff. And I told them like, dude, I'm going. I'm seeing this go off. I have a study hall. I'm gonna be in the library, dude. I'm gonna see this. So I was kind of hyped. But no, yeah, Friday comes and I came to school a little early. Not because I was so excited to go, but because I just usually went to school early to get to chill in the cafeteria. Because a lot of my friends chilled in the cafeteria. We'd play like Super Smash Bros. Or Switch or whatever. So I would go there just to like hang out basically. And literally, usually the cafeteria is like packed during the morning, because when you get dropped off by the bus, they kind of just leave you in the cafeteria. But I noticed like there's like nobody in the cafeteria, and like, sure, it was a Friday and less people were there on Friday, but it was still like, it was like dead. There was nobody there. It was like only like one of my friends there. So people were missing school because of this bomb threat. So I guess after the lockdown, people just like believed it. But I was talking to my friend like, I got the study hall. I'm going to the library. I'm gonna sit in the same spot that the computer was found at. I'm gonna record it. I'm gonna show you exactly what happens. And he was telling me like, oh, it's probably fake, but be careful. I was like, bro, I don't need to be careful. I need lore. So we start our first class. Then we start second class, get the flex time thing. Then got our third block, we go to lunch. Nobody's there at lunch. Nobody's there in my other classes too. But fourth block comes. Fourth block was my study hall. Fourth block was from 1 until the school went out. I think like 2:10-ish. But anyway, what's important is that it's in the time frame that the bomb was going to go off was in my fourth block during my study hall. So, I'm in my study hall. Technically, my study hall was in the trig teacher's classroom, and you had to line up at her desk to get permission to go to the library. Usually, there was a line, pretty much everyone in the study hall would ask to go to the library, and you'd have to wait behind 20 people to get permission to go. But today, the study hall only had 5 people, and there was nobody asking to go to the library. So that's where the bomb was supposed to go off. But I walked up to her. I was like, "Can I go to the library, please, Mrs. Teacher?" And she was like, "Ooh, even with that threat, you're still gonna go?" And I told her "Yeah, of course I'm gonna go. Why would I not go? I need that lore if it does happen, but it's probably not gonna happen, you know what I mean? But I need that lore just in case." And I told her that, and she was like, "Yep, fair enough." So, she lets me go. I go down to the library. Right now, I probably enter the library 1:10-ish, and there's nobody there. And, like I said, there's usually a lot of people who want to go to the library because, again, it's the only place with internet in the whole school. But it was dead. It was me and the librarian, and that was it. So, around this time, like I said, it's about 1:10. Bomb's supposed to go off in 20 minutes. And I was gonna do what I usually do, which was play Clash of Clans during the study hall. But I was like, if the bomb goes off and I die, do I really want to die playing Clash of Clans? Not really. I like that game, but I'm not trying to die for it, So I was like, I'm gonna watch Melee videos on my computer because this was a week before Smash Ultimate came out. So I was in the Smash mood. So I was like, let me watch Melee. So I loaded up Vimeo because they blocked all the Melee videos on YouTube. So I just opened up Vimeo. At this point, I sit down at the spot. I got the exact spot that the computer was at with the threat, which wasn't much of a challenge because I was the only one there. But still, I still sat there. I was still hype. So, I sit down there, load up my Vimeo, my Melee videos. And at this point, it's about 1:15. T-minus 15 minutes until takeoff, until launch. So, I'm looking for a video, and I find one that's exactly 15 minutes long. So I was like, oh, this is perfect because, 15 minutes, if the bomb goes off, first of all, it's not going to interrupt my video. Second of all, I can end the video and then right after take my phone out and start recording, see what happens, and people will know me as the journalist, the guy who survived the bomb and recorded it, So I was hyped. So I had the phone, I took my phone out, put it on my desk in front of me, and I watched my video. Whole time I was watching my video, I was looking around, make sure no bombs going off. But then I realized this is the day of the bomb threat. Maybe I shouldn't be looking around, on my computer with headphones. That looks a little sus. So I stopped with the looking around. But so 15 minutes go by, and I finished my video. It's about 1:30. The bomb's supposed to go off any minute now. I take my phone out. I'm like, I'm waiting for it. I'm just waiting for something to happen. I'm just I stopped looking around because I remember that looks sus, especially when I have this black brick in my hand. So I literally am just sitting there, just waiting. 5 minutes goes by, nothing happens. 10 minutes goes by, nothing happens. Still got my phone in my hand, got the camera on, got the Snapchat on, because I'm definitely going to post that to the story. So, I got it out, pause, I got my phone out, and 15 minutes goes by, nothing happens. And after 20 minutes, I put my phone down. It's about 1:50. And I'm like, I don't think this is going to go off. but you never know. So I kept the phone. I didn't have the phone out, but like I had my hand on it right next to my desk in case something happened, so I can at least record the aftermath. So, I go back to my Melee videos. I watch another one. I watched it was called like a tribute to Melee. I remember the video because I've seen it a couple times. Because Vimeo, their Melee video selection is kind of lacking. They had like maybe 50 videos, and I used to just degen YouTube in class because I blocked all the games. You used to be able to access Pokemon, like GBA Pokemon games and stuff. That's beyond the point. I remember the video I was watching. It was a tribute to Melee, or Melee's Beautiful or something. But that's not important. What I'm trying to say is I watched a video. It's a good video. But in the middle of watching the video, my nerves are calmed a little bit because obviously the whole time I'm just nervous as hell because, a bomb's supposed to go off. Who wouldn't be nervous? So, I'm nervous as hell. Kind of tense, kind of tight. So, I'm watching the video. Watching, nothing happens until 10 minutes into the video. I hear a... And this is mid-video, so that I heard that, I'm like, what the fuck? What the fuck, is that the bomb? But then I check, I look at the wall, there's no crumbling dust, all the walls are intact, there's no mushroom cloud going off, no boom text around the smoke cloud. So I knew, I was like, it's probably not the bomb, but what was that? And then I remembered, that's just what the bell to let you know that school is over sounded like. So I just freaked out over school being over. So I literally just walk out, and that's pretty much it. Nothing happened. And I don't know why I expected the bomb to go off. I wasn't really expecting it to go off, but I was kind of not hoping, but I was kind of lore farming. I kind of wanted some lore. So I wasn't disappointed because I don't know if I'd survive. I could survive a bombing, but I don't know if I want to, But yeah, I was a little upset, but I guess it's probably for the better that my school didn't get bombed. But yeah, that's pretty much it.